Electoral campaigns begin to wrap up ahead of next Sunday's presidential elections in Colombia with a slight lead for the historical PAC candidate Gustavo Petro. The United States registers a heat wave affecting several southwestern states with temperatures of up to 46 degrees Celsius. And this Sunday, France went to the polls in the first round of parliamentary elections. No incidents were reported. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Colombia, presidential candidates Gustavo Petro and Rodolfo Hernández began wrapping up their campaigns on Saturday. Also on Saturday, the National Attorney General announced that this Sunday voting begins abroad. 1 week before runoff elections in Colombia, the historical PAC and the League of Anti-Corruption Governors have held several rallies. The rallies were not as large as it could have been expected, and according to experts, this is another symptom of what has been an atypical electoral campaign. On the one hand, Rodolfo Hernández seems to be avoiding public appearances, while Gustavo Petro has held smaller and more discreet rallies, and this change is reflected in poll numbers. Friday's technical tie became Saturday's slight advantage for the candidate of the historical pact. On the other hand, Colombia's National Registrar Alexander Vega announced that polling stations have been already set up for Colombians in Oceania and Asia to start voting.
"99.9 is already verified and delivered to the consulates. Tomorrow, we will start with the Minister of the Interior, Sunday 3 p.m. in New Zealand. This afternoon, I'll get confirmation on the delivery of 2 kits at the consulates in Moscow and Shanghai."
In Colombia, due to electoral activity, the People's Ombudsman Office reported that it has strengthened its surveillance of the second round of presidential elections. Carlos Camargo, People's Ombudsman, assured on Saturday that over 3,000 officials will take the streets on June 19th to watch over the election day. The executive, who pointed out that the body has traditionally deployed contingents of less than 2,000 operatives, also explained that before the start of election day, they will be monitoring the regions to avoid or reduce electoral risks. Likewise, and in view of the fear that violence could occur, the representative of the multilateral organizations based in Bogota called on the candidates to behave in a civic and peaceful manner, and, as in the first round, to recognize the winner in an early stage. UN representative in Colombia, Maria Villas, called on all parties to accept next Sunday's elections results.
"We urge for a mass participation. Everyone's vote will be very important. We hope for an early acceptance of results as it happened in the first round, not only on the part of citizens but also by the candidates themselves."
In Colombia, a road between the municipality of Bucaramanga and the special district of Barranca Bermeja has collapsed barely 10 days after President Ivan Duques supervised it and inaugurated it. Santander Department Infrastructure Secretary Jaime René Rodriguez confirmed the closure of the road as a precaution, while it is being repaired as quickly as possible. He also explained that the collapse occurred at kilometer 7 of this 25-kilometer section, which is part of the highway that was inaugurated together with the La Paz and Lisboa bridges during the recent visit of President Ivan Duque. In Bolivia, Interior Ministry authorities celebrated the 10-year prison sentence for Janine Áñez, considering that the tribunal's decision set a historic precedent. The Minister of the Interior, Eduardo del Castillo, highlighted as historic the sentence against Áñez for the self-proclamation on the violation of the rules of constitutional succession in 2019. The Minister of Justice and Institutional Transparency of Bolivia, Ivan Magne, pointed out that the sentence proves all the violations incurred by Áñez when senator. He recalled the sentence was issued within the framework of the principles and guarantees of the process and completed a phase in the recovering of democracy. He considered the tribunal's decision serves to ensure that under any circumstances a person may appoint him or herself president. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador toured communities affected by Hurricane Agatha in the state of Oaxaca. When visiting the Mazunte community, Lopez Obrador was met by some 600 people who thanked the president for taking an interest in the situation they are facing after Hurricane Agatha. Lopez Obrador reminded those affected that they are not alone and said he would return to the town in the next few days with a local government action plan to support the victims. AMLO was accompanied by State Governor Alejandro Murat, by Defense Secretary Luis Crescencio Sandoval, and by the head of the Navy, Rafael Ojeda Duran. At the end of the day, the Mexican president reiterated his commitment to the affected communities and announced that a survey had to be made to assist them in an efficient manner. This Sunday, Cuba received a shipment of essential products donated by social movements from the United States as part of their Bridge of Love project. Representatives of the project arrived with the cargo at Jose Marti International Airport in Havana. The project is headed by Carlos Lazos, a Cuban-American who brings together immigrants from the island living in a northern nation, and Medea Benjamin, leader of the Code Pink organization. The shipment consists of essential products for liver transplants. According to Lasso, the action was possible thanks to the goodwill of people who made donations, since the laws regulating the economic, commercial, and financial blockade against the island prohibits its acquisition through the market between the two countries. And teleSUR expands its signal with new satellite parameters, since more than ever, the world connects to us and our stories are being heard in other faraway nations. These parameters are in place since June 1st in Latin America and the Caribbean, both in English and in Spanish, and quite soon further changes will be implemented for the signals in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This new multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and our faithfulness to our audience. We are taking a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. In the United States, several cities were declared on alert due to the high temperatures recorded in the country. Although the former arrival of summer is still 10 days away, the entire southeast of the North American nation could suffer heat waves, as confirmed by the National Weather Service office in Hanford, California. Experts estimate that over 140 U.S. cities could exceed their daily temperature averages in the coming days, and even overnight, low temperatures could reach risky levels. Meteorologists also warn of a high heat risk for the weekend in southern and central Arizona, where temperatures could reach record highs of 43 to 46 degrees Celsius. And this Sunday, Spain concluded a week under an intense heat wave with temperatures that placed 7 autonomous communities on alert. According to the State Meteorology Agency, the temperatures exceeded or touched 40 degrees Celsius in several regions of the country, especially in Andalusia, where maximum temperatures reached 43 degrees. Extremadura, Castilla, La Mancha, and Madrid all in orange level. Meanwhile, in Aragon, Castilla y León, and Catalonia, the level is yellow, which, in addition to Cantabria, may suffer storms. In addition, several forest fires in Sierra Morena in Andalusia recently gave the first negative signs of heat effects in Spain. June forecasts show extreme temperatures, which are expected to continue in July and August. In China, over 4.3 million people have been affected following heavy rains and floods in several provinces of the country. According to local authorities, at least 1.1 million people in Jiangxi province have been affected, and almost $400 million worth on housing and agricultural damage since the end of May. In Guangxi rainfall, landslides and floods damaged 1.4 million people and 51,800 hectares of crops, while Hunan has 1.7 million residents and 2,700 houses affected for the same reasons. This Sunday, the government issued a warning for another round of torrential cloudbursts that will impact these three provinces and the southern provinces of Fujian, Guangdong, Guangzhou, and Yunnan until Tuesday. A volcano in the Philippines' Sorsogon province spewed ash on Sunday, a week after a phreatic eruption that prompted authorities to raise the alert level and evacuate residents to safety. Phreatic eruption is a steam-driven explosion that occurs when water beneath the ground is directly heated by hot rocks or new volcanic deposits, or indirectly by magma or magmatic gas. The eruption of Pelusan volcano in Sorsogon province lasted for 18 minutes and brought ashfall to several towns still reeling from its previous eruption last week, authorities said. In the town of Yuban, one of the most affected areas, emergency workers cautioned drivers to slow down due to poor visibility brought by the ashfall as they clean up the dusty roads. No casualties were reported.
It was 3 a.m. when we heard the thunder. We went outside and saw the thunder lighting across the Bulusan Volcano. We thought it was already raining with ashes, but we couldn't see it clearly. About 4 a.m., and the ashes started falling to the ground in a thick layer. Just a while ago, there was a collision between two trucks due to zero visibility caused by the ashfall.
Chinese State Councilor and Defense Minister Wei Fenghe on Sunday delivered a speech on China's vision of regional order at the 19th Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore. Wei said the world is facing multiple crises rarely seen in history, and the way forward is to uphold and practice multilateralism and build a community with a shared future for mankind. China's development is unstoppable, Wei said, adding that China is rock solid in its commitment to pursuing peaceful development. Noting the Asia-Pacific is the world's most vibrant and promising economic powerhouse, Wei urged countries to strive for the bright prospect of building an Asia-Pacific community with a shared future that enjoys durable peace and provides security for all. On the Taiwan question, Wei said Taiwan is part of China and the Taiwan question is China's internal affair.
We call the US side to stop smearing and containing China, stop interfering in China's internal affairs, and stop harming China's interests. The bilateral relationships cannot improve unless the US side can do that. China-US cooperation is vital for global peace and development. Confrontation will not benefit us or other countries.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. French voters cast their ballot in the first round of parliamentary elections as President Emmanuel Macron seeks to secure his majority amid a resurgent left-wing coalition. Polling stations opened at 8 a.m. local time on Sunday after voters in overseas territories cast ballots earlier in the weekend. About 48 million citizens are eligible to vote. Elections for the 577 seats in the lower house National Assembly are a two-round process. More than 6,000 candidates ranging in age from 18 to 92 are running to win seats in the National Assembly in the first round of the election. Those who receive the most votes will advance to the decisive second round on June 19th. In Switzerland, citizens held protests in the city of Geneva against free trade in the midst of an international food crisis. These demonstrations were organized by various agricultural organizations to express their condemnation of free trade agreements, which they consider to be destructive of small farms and undermining food security. These agreements have been denounced at previous conferences because they distort global trade and badly hurt the economies of southern countries that depend heavily on their agricultural exports. The protest coincided with the 12th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization, attended by representatives from the 164 member countries and focused on food security. In India, authorities report at least 2 deaths during protests over offensive remarks against the Prophet Muhammad. In the eastern city of Ranchi, police shot dead 2 teenagers while protesting against government representatives who made offensive remarks against the Prophet of Islam. Also in the city of Saharanpur, police are reported to have demolished the house of several demonstrators, deeming them antisocial. Health authorities report about 100 injured, and other sources claim that at least a dozen people were arrested in the country in the framework of these protests. Protesters called for the arrest of the ruling authorities for insulting the Prophet of Islam and deplored the fact that, instead, the police resort to violence to repress them. In the United Kingdom, a judge approved an initiative aimed at deporting asylum seekers from Rwanda. The British judiciary on Friday rejected a claim introduced by human rights groups and authorized the government to send illegal Rwandan immigrants back to their country. Judge Jonathan Swift said at the end of the hearing that there was no evidence of mistreatment or expulsion of refugees from Rwanda while their asylum claims were being processed. According to the immigration scheme proposed by the United Kingdom, immigrants who cross the channel illegally will be deported to refugee camps built in Rwanda, while their immigration status is normalized. In Italy, the corpses of 7 people were found in a helicopter. Authorities reported that among the corpses were 4 Turkish nationals and 2 Lebanese. The bodies were found 2 days after the crash. A hiker alerted the rescue teams when he found the wreckage of the crashed aircraft. The helicopter had taken off from the town of Lucca and was heading for the Treviso area when it lost control due to a heavy storm in the northern Apennine mountain range in the province of Modena. Thousands of people gathered in the center of Rome on Saturday to celebrate the return of the Rome Gay Pride in the streets of the Italian capital after the COVID lockdown. LGBTQIA+ activists filled the Roman streets with colors and music in the parade from Piazza della Repubblica in the front of the Termini railway station to reach Piazza Venezia. Pride participants demonstrated not only for the right to choose whichever sexuality without being discriminated against, but also for the right to not being discriminated against because of the color of their skin or because of different religious beliefs. On Saturday, Australia's government announced a €555 million compensation agreement with the French shipyard Naval Group for the violation of a submarine supply contract. The Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, affirmed that the compensation is fair and equitable. The agreement broken by the oceanic country amounted to about €56 million, unleashed a diplomatic crisis, and threatened to unbalance a trade agreement between the Australians and the European Union. For his part, the French Defense Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, welcomed the agreement, qualifying it as equitable. And we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.